go to school, more than 14 million portions for small children. So we're improving the nutritional part, but there is still a lagging that we have for kindergartens. And we went from 500 credit for university students, and credit is very important for university students. We also took a big jump, and this is something which needs to be looked at from the perspective of microcredit as well. Colombia has used to have 60,000 university students that receive credit, and now more than 300,000 young students are receiving credit, and this is part of our reforms for education. I think what it's most closely connected to microcredit is vocational training. Colombia used to train 1,100,000 persons a year in vocational tasks or occupations. Now it is training more than 6 million people. And we have an institution which is called the National Learning Institute, SENA, which is financed with 2 points of the payroll paid out by entrepreneurs. I was saying that in Colombia, out of every dollar that we pay for a salary, the benefits is the money that goes into the benefits for working is 78 cents. So there is 2 points of what they pay out to workers, and a percentage of what they pay out to workers has to be destined to educational programs. So now we have more than 300,000 Colombians who are attending technical and technological programs, and now to face up to the economical crisis and open up new jobs, this institution is opening up 250 more jobs by training them in technical and technological programs which have to be connected with entrepreneurial credit lines. This institution trains more than 1 million people through the internet nowadays, and it has become the first entity in teaching English as a second language, and this teaching is reaching more than 1 million people in Colombia over the internet, and the programs are being originated in San Andres and Providencia, which are 2 islands where the islanders are actually bilingual. Their mother tongue is actually English in San Andres and Providencia. We think this institution, SENA, is really doing a great job informing entrepreneurs, and it went from having 30,000 apprentices to more than 100,000 apprentices, and we hope that the number of apprentices will continue to grow, because we have a ceiling for 300,000 apprentices, but we can actually increase these to more than 1 million apprentices in Colombia. So we see a ratio between the effort displayed to teach and the new entrepreneurial programs that are being created and which are greatly related to microcredit. The other topic has to do with accompaniment. The accompaniment, working with them, staying with them, helping them. A micro-entrepreneur comes into a bank, and if he has the support or she has the support of a serious institution such as SENA, that will be a collateral. He will get loans much easier than if he shows up alone. So we are making a great deal of effort here, but there is still a great deal to be done. Regarding the objectives, Professor Yunus, we wanted to reach more than 5 million Colombians with microcredit, but we have covered approximately 3 million. We want to increase this by at least 1 million people. We are trying to counter this negative phase of the economic cycle, but out of the 4 million Colombians that have already received microcredit, 1,190,000 have received microcredit for the first time. We do an effort Saturday after Saturday and during the week so as to make sure that Colombians will go from the informal financial system usually to the national institutional banking service. Unfortunately, in certain regions, there is still a certain degree of dependency in usury systems by some portions of the Colombian population, but we're working on making sure this will not be so much longer. Minister Plata said that when my government started, micro-entrepreneurs had balances in their credit of $350 million. So what they have in their hands now has been multiplied by 10. It went from $350 million to $3 billion and some dollars. So the credit amounts are increasing. The receivables of microcredit represented in Colombia 1.5% of the total receivables, and the total amount represents 5.6 of the receivables in the supervised banking sector. The second-tier bank of the state has increased rediscounts, especially for private institutions, such that they can respond to the microcredit needs in a more efficient way. And the microcredit fund has increased a great deal in many regions in Colombia. We have reached agreements with governors and mayors so that they will reinforce the fund of guarantees. We do have certain difficulties nonetheless. One of the lessons that Yunus taught us back a few years ago, and I wrote notes about this, and this is how I understood your lesson, Professor Yunus. We must have a more discipline in saving and in paying than in the amount itself. We have assimilated this in Colombia, but we have not found enough flexibility in the entities to develop this. We have said to the National Savings Fund, which has legal restriction, of course, so what you need to do is not tell people that they need to save 50 a week. The important part is not the amount, it's the habit. Every Friday I'm going to save a little bit. Well, this Friday I cannot save 50 pesos. Well, then I can only save 2 pesos. Okay, bring 2 pesos. And if for any reason you cannot save 50, well, save 10. Save what you can. But be disciplined about your saving habits. We feel that implanting this discipline is very important. Same with payments. Rather than thinking about the amount you're paying back, the important thing is the discipline you have to pay back. Okay, I was supposed to pay 20 pesos today. I can't pay 20 pesos. I can only pay 5 pesos. Okay, then come and pay 5 pesos. Pay something. So we need to be flexible about these amounts to make sure that we will be creating a higher degree of discipline in terms of payment and savings. In Colombia, we're clear about this, but we still need to make more headway. We have programs that facilitate the promotion of microcredit. One of the most important programs we have in Colombia is called Families in Action. And we are almost in 2.5 million families. They are the poorest families, and the government is guaranteeing the school cycle of their children. This is part of what we call Red Juntos, which is a program to try and rescue more than 2 million Colombian families and get them out of poverty. We are helping them to save, and we're trying to provide credits to them such that they can leave poverty behind, or at least those low levels of poverty. We have more than 25,000 families in a program that we call farmer families who were linked to drugs in some way, and the government supports them by paying $2,000 to them in exchange for those families to committing to not having anything else to do with cocaine production, and they will also work in supervising the recovery of the rainforest. And these families have really known how to use microcredit very well. They have abandoned like coca leaf production, and they have gone into other things by using microcredit. Microcredit, the women's organizations, we have very good seats with women working with Microcredit, and there is another topic with Microcredit that has to do with the demobilized families. We have more than 50,000 demobilized families who have been demobilized by terrorist groups. It's a very large number of demobilized families. It's costly, and Microcredit also plays a very important part in that. They are getting a sort of a state subsidy every month to help them start a program or business. Well, we've not been able to make enough progress so that they can save something